Today we're going to be talking about mental stack, how to improve your mental stack, make it easier. What's mental stack? A bunch of like stuff like that. A bunch, the same mode. Y'all know how these videos go. So first things first, mental stack. I think there's a misconception, and that's my favorite word, misconception, when making these videos. I think people think that not even pros, but people in general that are like pretty good at the game just know where everything's coming, and it's almost like magic. Like, damn, they know how to do this. They're like multitasking, doing all this, and all it really is, it's just constantly rotating between options based on either things your opponent has shown you or things the character is capable of to a certain extent. Because just because a character is capable of things, like for example, King can Dragon Lash. I see some Kins, some Kins forget they can Dragon Lash, bro. Like some people that play Kin, I forget the shit happens until they do it, and then I'm looking out for it. So I guess the main thing that I would say the main tip I would give for it is, one, know what the character is capable of, right, at certain ranges. And also, while knowing what they're capable of, this is more so just to predict if you don't really know the opponent, right? And even then, it's still a good thing to know. Like, for example, Ken, how can he reach? The only way he can really reach me or do any real harm, if I bite. Like, if I throw a fireball, that opens me up for a lot more. He could just do his run he could just do this, like that or something like that, right? But all Ken can really do to get the advance towards me is Dragon Lash, and if I'm looking out for that, that's the easy DI, right? And he has to do heavy, because if he doesn't, the other ones will be out of range, and if it does manage to hit, they're minus, right? The only Dragon Lash is not minus is heavy, right? Heavy is +1. All he can really do, if we're just taking Ken, not necessarily Street Fighter, because any character can really drive rush forward, right? But even then, if you're playing somebody like Dawson, that will be the least of your concerns in a situation like this. So that's why I say it's very character dependent. But all Ken can really do, if I'm actively playing, if I'm just standing here, all he can really do is walk forward. So other than walking forward, right, he could Dragon Lash, he could jump if he wanted to. If he takes a couple steps forward, he could just do a sprint, cancel, maybe try to bait something, but he could just sprint. But if I don't bite on anything, all he could really do is walk forward, right? In order to alleviate mental stack, I think the main thing people have to do, and I just made up this terminology, shout out to me, copyright patented, is things called umbrella options. Now, what are umbrella options? Umbrella options are just simply doing other buttons or options that cover, or things, buttons, or actions that cover multiple options, so that you have to think less. Because the less you have to think, the more options that are covered by one or two things, opposed to you trying to do a specific button or specific option for every scenario. If you do an option that it doesn't always necessarily, by the way, these options don't always necessarily lead to you getting offense started or getting a hit, but if the option keeps you from getting hit or keeps you in a safer or better position, then it's better to do that, because it covers all bases, right? So then now you can allocate more mental to other things, like jumping in. If I'm thinking about Gen Ryan 20 different things on the ground, I'm thinking about the ground. Like, let's say 2/3 of my mental stack is focused on the ground, so the 1/3 that's focused on jumping. If he jumps, I might hit the anti-air if I'm thinking about it in the right time, but for the most part, I'm just gonna get hit probably. I might get an anti-air if I don't get a super or some shit on accident because I'm panicking, right? So I think the goal is just to like be able to properly rotate between options to kind of figure out what you want to do. But also, like, for example, I think, like I said, if I didn't state it enough, I think this is very valuable, right? Doing poke. The reason being is because naturally you'll check drive rush, right? And it'll make them less inclined. Like me personally, if somebody's poking, yeah, I'm gonna try to whip punish, because like I said, don't get it twisted, there's counterplay to everything in this game. It might not be fair all the time, but there's counterplay to everything in this game, right? So if an opponent's throwing out buttons and shit, the last thing I'm gonna try to do is drive rush, because I might accidentally get checked, right? So I'm gonna be more inclined to actually try to play FLYZY, especially if I'm really hitting them in the right range. So that takes that option. So all I'm really gonna do is try to jump probably. So then now it's easier for me to see the jump coming, or now I'm gonna be more conscious about, okay, he might jump, because I think he's probably really trying to start his offense, or he's just gonna try to whip punish, walk forward, it don't matter. But at least then, if I'm doing this to cover dry rush already, it's so much easier for me to see the jump, process it, and then boom, hit them like these, right? But another thing I think that falls under the category of umbrella options are delay buttons, more specifically delay jab, but like also delay throw. As you know, between strike, throw, and shimmy, that's 3 options, right? You have 3 things that you really need to worry about, especially when you're getting mixed in the corner, wherever, right? So you have to think of it like this, right? By delay teching, which delay teching is just timing your throw on wake up, or just in general after certain offensive strings or after drive rush, to where if they strike you, you block the strike, and if they throw you, you tech the throw, right? So you go from having to only really worry about 3 options to only 2 of them. So you go from a 33% chance of not getting fucked up to a 50% chance of not getting fucked up. But the thing is, sometimes you want to take the risk and hit them because or go for a crouch and medium because they might be shimmying, depending on your character. Some characters don't have crouch and medium and DPs and shit. But the point here is, mathematically speaking, you have better odds at that, because the only thing that really beats your option or your delay tech is a tighter frame trap block or frame trap or a tighter string. That technically could do it, or if they just delay their string, so they're jabbing, they delay it slightly, so a more delay button. And like I said, you might have to vary the timing depending on the string or the move, but for the most part, like I said, that goes with your opponent. You delay it more depending on them. So there's like a base timing that, you know, everybody does, and then there's that. But to kind of jump to the next topic, let's talk about delayed jabbing, right? So delayed jabbing, it goes up from -0 to -4. -0, right? You got to think, when it's -0, that means y'all are reset at neutral. But if they click any buttons, like if they try to draw you, a jab will beat it, right? So -1, like I said, once we get to -4, you're able to be punished. So for the most part, if like in close quarters, your opponent's probably not going to do something -4 because they're going to get punished. So, or they're not going to try to tick throw you with a move that's -4 unless they dry rush behind it to make it, like I said, -0. And they could still do it, but even then that's more risky because, like I said, you hit a jabs always beat throw. There's no trade. So then at that point, they probably have to hit a button to trade with you, right? Now, if it doesn't work, like if the opponent blocks it, that means they were either trying to shimmy you or you timed it wrong. But even then, I still don't think that's a bad thing, because at least they're not getting free pressure on you regardless. Now, there are a couple ways to practice this. There's like 2 main ways. You can either do record a Ryu to do this, walk up and grab in the first slot, and the second slot, like do a jab. And that could get the timing down, or you could simply, and I actually already have it pre-recorded with Cam. And this takes a lot of practice, by the way, because like the timing is so like crazy. Not crazy, but it's like a little difficult. Like it takes some practice to get used to. And even then, you still might not be used to it, because like I think the window is so fucking so funky, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Let's go to this corner. All right, come on, Kimmy. Boom. So I already have it recorded. Heat ID. Think, what's this? Yeah, perfect. But you see what I'm saying? It's kind of difficult to time. Don't mind me getting counter. I think I recorded too many jabs. Don't mind me getting counter hit at the last jab. That doesn't count. Just focus on the first 2 jabs right from that. But as y'all saw clearly, it's kind of difficult to do. But you kind of see by me doing it a couple times, correct? You see that, hey, she jabs, block. She doesn't, hit. And as you see the confirm, you confirm it, and then you do like a side switch. Who knows? So let's see. That's not real. There we go, something like that, right? Now, sometimes you might get the hit because the opponent's on the way walking forward. Either way, as long as they get hit, it's okay. But even then, you're more likely, like, it's better to get a counter hit. But even just pay attention if you get the hit or not, because either way, you confirm, get it and hit something off of it, and then you're free to go, right? Unless you're like Marissa. Marissa doesn't really get much off of that. Or like, I don't know. It's dependent upon whatever character you use, but you get the point I'm trying to make. And this also beats delay jab, delay button, or whatever. It also beats fake-ish pressure or certain strings. Like, for example, Jinrai, delay jab. Really, you could do a medium punch too, but just for the context, we're going to stick to the basics, stick to jab. Delay jab also beats Jinrai as far as like it makes it easier to deal with. So if Ken does Jinrai and you don't know if he's going to go over or under and you don't want to parry to get grabbed up, you could delay jab, because delay jab covers if he stops the string and tries to walk forward. So it'll either stop him or most likely hit him, right? Because he's walking forward, right? It'll always hit him. Like I said, if the person blocks, that means they were shimmy or they were doing some weird shit. Regardless, like I said, that's not a terrible thing, right? If you timed it right. And the purpose is just to kind of get y'all used to delay jab. And I guess if you want to practice parrying Jinrai, you can, but like, that's not what this is for. So boom, boom, record 1 slot doing that. Record the other slot doing that, right? That way now. Boom. And really with Jinrai, you can just delay medium delay button anyways, right? And it also covers if he wants to stop and then walk forward. It covers that as well. The throw, because you're gonna hit him out the throw, right? And we're gonna show y'all that as well, like that, right? And that's why you want to kind of practice the lane. And then I guess, yeah, it's less of the delay there, but you get the point I'm trying to make. But by doing that, now you don't have to sit here and be like, because I think mental stack goes in many ways. I think there's neutral mental stack, and then there's like when you're in a mix up. But I think it definitely helps to know that shit, because now you're not sitting here like, damn, is he gonna go low and parry? Like, your safest bet if you don't know, unless you have dry gauge you're trying to burn, whatever. Yeah, but that's umbrella options, ladies and gentlemen. You know, a new word I made up. I want it patented. Put it in the fighting game encyclopedia. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Thank y'all so much for watching. All the support you guys have been showing lately. I really appreciate that shit. I don't really like to say it at the beginning of videos because I feel like people just want to get straight to the point. You know, so for people that stayed to this point, thank y'all so much for the support. Join the Discord. I coach intermediate, beginner to intermediate players. Advanced, I'm not gonna lie, you probably whoop my ass, bro. But I coach players, so get people to master. And also check me out on Twitch as well. I am not gonna lie, I don't play Street Fighter on Twitch a lot because this shit be stressing me out. And I play this shit all the time outside of Twitch, right? But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. Hopefully this helped. And yeah, y'all have a fantastical night. I'm going to bed because I got work tomorrow.